You're getting married in the mountains of Pigeon Forge in Gatlinburg, and you need to know how to get the marriage license. Hi, I'm Regina at the Honeysuckle Hills Wedding Venue in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. For the past 19 years, the number one question that my couples ask me here at the venue is, how do I get the marriage license? It's not as hard as you think it is. This is a broad overview, and I'm not an attorney. I'm going to give you the general information on how to get your marriage license, but some of you are going to have some unique situations that I'm not going to be able to answer. That's why in the comment section, we have a handy telephone number to the Sevier County Courthouse. If none of your questions are answered 100% in this video, I recommend to call them. The first thing you need to know is that if you're getting married in the state of Tennessee, your marriage license must be from the state of Tennessee. So it doesn't matter if you live in the state of Georgia, North Carolina, New York, California, any other United state. Federal law says that if you're getting married in Tennessee, your marriage license must be from the state of Tennessee. Now, that said, if you live in the state of Tennessee, because you're traveling to Pigeon Forge and Gatlinburg, Smoky Mountains to get married, does not mean you have to get your license in Sevierville or Gatlinburg, Tennessee. Let's say, for example, you live in Nashville or Chattanooga. It's probably more convenient for you to go to your own courthouse to get the license. There are 3 places that you can get your marriage license here in the Smoky Mountains. The first is at the Sevierville Courthouse. That's also where the Dolly statue is located. People love to come out of the courthouse with their marriage license and have a picture at the Dolly statue. It's a whole trend. The second place is Gatlinburg. The Gatlinburg Clerk's office is off of Highway 321 in Gatlinburg. Both of those places are typically open Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. until 4 p.m. However, in the comments section, there is a link with all of the places you can get your marriage license here in the Smokies, their address and their hours. There's also the holiday schedule, which can really throw a monkey wrench in things, especially around holidays like Christmas and New Year's and Thanksgiving. So be sure that you look up those holiday hours before you head to get it. And the third place, which is Saturday only, this is the only time this is open, is the Pigeon Forge Clerk's office. It is right by the old mill in Patriot Park. There's a little clerk's office in there. It's easy to get into, plenty of parking. And on Saturday, typically from 8 in the morning until about noon. But again, please, look at that link and double check my hours because it's always subject to change. But those are the 3 locations that you can get your license once you're here in the Smoky Mountains. You do not have to have an appointment to go into any of those clerk's offices. It can walk right in. It's first come and first served. An important thing you need to know is that you're going to have to get your marriage license in person. This is not something that your wedding venue or your coordinator or your ceremony officiant can do for you. They want you to prove that you are who you say you are. And not only do you have to do it in person, but both of you are going to have to go to the courthouse together to get the license. They're going to ask for a couple of forms of identification. One of the most important is either your driver's license or your passport. They're going to need a second form of identification, which is usually your social security card. Now, in the comment section, remember that there is that telephone number to the Sevier County Courthouse, plus handy links. They have an official page at the courthouse that tells you exactly what documents that you're going to need to bring with you to get that marriage license. And once you get there, the fee varies. If you live in the state of Tennessee, it usually costs more unless you pay to have premarital counseling. If you are traveling outside the state of Tennessee, it's significantly discounted. I never post prices because that's always subject to change. But again, just look at those links because the price is always included on their websites. Typically, it averages around $100 for in the state of Tennessee residents and around $45 or $50 if you live outside the Tennessee to get that marriage license. I know I said before that you can't get the marriage license itself online and say, for example, emailed to you, but there is something you can do that will speed up the process. Now, it's called the pre-application, and in the comment section of this video is the link to the pre-application. Now, I'm not sure 100% if it relates to all the courthouses in the state of Tennessee, but it definitely applies if you're going to pick up your marriage license in Pigeon, Gatlinburg, or Sevierville in the Smoky Mountains. Now, personally, I would love to be in the comfort of my own home to answer all the questions on this pre-application. It's going to ask you things like your first and middle and last name and your husband's, and each of your parents and where they were born. And some of you might not know that, and it gives you an opportunity to call up mom or dad and get that information. And also, it will ask you how many times have you been married and what is the date of your last divorce. If you don't know the exact date, then it gives you time to look that up or call your attorney and get that information. Once you get to the courthouse to actually pick up your marriage license, they're going to ask you, did you do that pre-application? And you'll say, yep, I sure did. They're going to access your pre-application on their computer, and then they're going to go over that information with you to verify all the answers that you gave them. Then they're going to ask you for those 2 forms of ID. They're going to issue your license in the paper form after you pay for it there. Now, when you pick up your license, you're going to get 2 full-size pieces of paper. These full-size pieces of paper are what you are going to guard with your life until you get to your wedding venue or wherever you're getting married and you meet your ceremony officiant. Your ceremony officiant is going to need these 2 pieces of paper, okay? And you're also going to get a quarter-size or 3/4 size piece of paper like this that has information for your officiant on how to fill out that license. Now, most officiants here in the state of Tennessee in my Smoky Mountain area, it's old hat to them. They know exactly what they're supposed to do. They know it's got to be the black ink. They know they got to fill out this, a lot of times the courthouses will do a little handy highlight section. And by the way, you do not have to have a witness in the state of Tennessee. I know that that section is on your license, but the state of Tennessee by law does not require you to have a witness, so not sure why that's there. But you're also going to get this little smaller sheet of paper, and I would keep that because it is your receipt that you paid for and picked up your marriage license, and it's also going to have the record number on the little piece of paper where that license is located in the courthouse's book of records, the actual book number, the page number, and so on. So let's say, for example, God forbid, if your officiant mails in your license back to the courthouse and it got lost in the mail, well, call them up and say, hey, this is the numbers to access my record where I actually picked it up. They can then send your officiant another marriage license to complete. Once you actually have your marriage license in hand, you can literally walk outside that courthouse door and get married right then and there. The marriage license itself is good for 30 days. Now, if you have no idea where to take your marriage license, where you're going to get married, go ahead and ask the courthouse for a list of places to get married. They're not going to specifically recommend one over the other, but they do usually have a list of places in the area that you can call up and get an appointment. I would not just show up at their doorstep because Pigeon and Gatlinburg is probably second only to Las Vegas for a place to get married. So especially in season from the months of April through November, you're going to need an appointment. You need to do some searching and find a place and an officiant. Now, a lot of people plan even years in advance where they're going to get married, and their coordinator or their wedding venue is so helpful in finding that officiant. There are professional wedding companies, there are wedding chapels. If you can't find a place that you want to get married in Pigeon and Gatlinburg, you just don't want to get married because literally the only thing we do not have here is an Elvis chapel. So Now, there are different types of officiants that can marry you in the state of Tennessee. I'm going to tell my understanding of who those officiants are, but again, for official legal advice, I would ask an attorney or call up the Sevier County Courthouse and ask them. Now, you can be a county commissioner, you can be a judge, you can be an ordained minister, which means ordained in person at a church. Or Tennessee notary publics can marry you. Now, there is kind of some controversy about the online ordinations. I'm not really going to get into some of that. I personally would want one of the more official people to marry me, so I would seek out one of those instead. Now, when you get to wherever it is that you're going to get married, you are going to present your wedding officiant, your ceremony officiant, these two pieces of paper. Now, in a nutshell, when you get those two pieces of paper, this is just your permission to get married. The courthouse has no idea if you actually did get married until your officiant signs the license and returns it. They have 3 business days in order to get that license back to the courthouse. If a Tennessee notary is going to perform your wedding ceremony, they're going to ask for a copy of your driver's license once you present your license to them. This is because notaries are required to once again prove that you are who you say you are. You're also going to sign their notary journal. Now, if it's a minister of a church or a judge or a county commissioner that is performing the ceremony, there is no need for any other signatures or proof of identity. A lot of people also ask me, do we need to sign our license? Well, you actually already did that when you went to pick it up. When you went to the courthouse, you probably signed a little digital tablet, and that transferred onto your marriage license itself. And if you want to just double check before you get married, look on the license and you'll see each of your signatures right there. All this talk about a marriage license, and really it's just your permission to get married. Nobody at the courthouse knows you actually went through with it until the ceremony officiant signs, dates, and returns it back to the courthouse where you picked it up. So if you live in the state of Tennessee and you got it in another county other than Sevier County, the officiant will mail your license back to that appropriate county. If you got your marriage license here in Sevierville or Gatlinburg or Pigeon, your officiant will usually hand deliver it to that courthouse. Your officiant has 3 business days to get that license back to the courthouse. And if they're mailing it, the courthouse is going to look on the post date on the envelope. So if you got your marriage license in your own county courthouse, you need to call them and ask them what their protocol is to receive your marriage certificate, which is a completely different document than the marriage license. Ultimately, the marriage certificate is what proves that you are legally married. The other courthouses and other counties in the state of Tennessee, some of them wait until you come back into the courthouse, or you have to actually call to get your marriage certificate mailed to you. Sevier County courthouses in Gatlinburg, Sevierville, and Pigeon, usually you're going to receive your certificate by mail because they automatically mail it, and you usually receive it within 2 to 6 weeks, depending on what time of year you're getting married. Now, once you get your certificate in the mail, that is the beginning of changing your name. Don't be alarmed when you look at your certificate and it does not already have your sweetheart's last name as your own. The government has no idea what you intend to do until you tell them at the Social Security Administration. Some women don't change their last name at all. Some men take the woman's last name, and in same-sex weddings, they have the option, one will choose the other's last name. It's up to them what they do. I'm so tickled that you have chosen the Smoky Mountains to get married.